Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the Port Charles 411 about Jackie Templeton.
I don't feel so bad for not knowing very much about her because we were literally babies, or you weren't even born yet.
I was not born yet.
So.
And as we discovered after we were done recording our weekly recap, she debuted the day before my husband was born.
You're so excited with that fact.
I think it's cute.
It is very cute.
But yeah, and unfortunately, I don't know why, she's not talked about that much. So I don't know, I've always known why she was on or who she was when she was on. I think it's because she was to me more.
Right.
So I feel like that probably had, because I knew who Blackie Parrish was because it was John Stamos.
Yes.
We have referred to both of them multiple times about we have to do the 411 about who got their start on General Hospital or who was on GH before they were famous. And she's been one that we've talked about a few times now.
I think I thought she was on longer than she was.
Well, she was in the board game. She is a piece in the board game.
That's very
true.
So
I thought she was a bigger deal than she was.
Right. Maybe we should have just played the game. Read through all of her information.
Oh, why didn't we do that?
We can only be Jackie.
Yes. But it was really difficult to find information about her. Even our trusted YouTube, there was not.
Right.
I think there was maybe 5 clips that I was able to find of her.
They didn't focus in on her as much as some of the other characters do. So you couldn't just type in her name and search 20,000 clips, all of just her. You had to watch and watch. And we did not have time for that. And we did not have the storyline content to really get into it.
Right. We definitely could have. Well, when she came in 1982, she came because her sister, Laura Templeton, was missing.
Yes.
Because she was part of a cult, or she was kidnapped by a cult leader.
Right.
And Jackie was a reporter in New York City. So we are also using, the General Hospital, The Complete Scrapbook by Gary Warner.
I'm so excited we finally get to use this
resource. I know. We've been talking about it for quite some time. So if you don't know what we're talking about, we'll have a link to it in the show notes. But it's a really, really nice book. It's nice and hardback.
Yes, it is a nice book. A lot of the longtime fans in the Facebook groups talk about they take it to all the different conventions and have the characters or the actors sign them, which is super awesome.
If we can ever do that again.
If COVID ever opens the world back up again.
I know.
Good. Anyway,
that's another podcast.
Yes. You were saying who she worked for.
Oh, so she worked for the Advertising Times in New York City. And Jackie was a tough, determined young woman who demonstrated considerable savvy in tracking down a story. So I guess she would have been 2020.
Yes.
Okay. But now she was forced to call upon her expertise to track down the missing Lauras, because both her sister and Laura Spencer were missing.
Mm-hmm.
But before they went missing, she had actually had the opportunity to interview Laura Spencer. Did you watch this on YouTube?
I did watch that on YouTube.
This was so sweet.
Yes.
Because Laura Spencer was Miss Star Eyes.
I didn't realize they had lived on the Haunted Star. I knew the Haunted Star was around back then, and the Haunted Star was now, but I didn't realize it played such a major part back then as it does.
Right.
Or at least it used to. They're not there as often anymore, but for a while it was the place to be.
Right, exactly. And it was actually their home.
Yes.
Yeah, I really liked that because Jeannie Francis just looked so young. I mean, it was almost 40 years ago.
They all were really young.
But it was really cool because, she was asking Laura about, I got the feeling as she was talking to Laura, she was still trying to uncover something. So, I mean, she did a really good job playing journalist, because you definitely felt like her questions were surface.
Yes.
I'm trying to get stuff out of you without you telling me.
Mm-hmm. But there was all the people that kept coming into the room, so she wasn't getting much information.
No.
Laura was like, finally, let's move this to the diner because we can't really talk here.
Yep. So soon after Jackie arrived, well, and then this is where I'm confused. So She interviewed Laura Spencer before she came to Port Charles. I'm quoting, like,
Right.
and so she left and then came back because both Laura's were missing and one of them wound up being her sister.
That's how I'm understanding it.
Okay.
That's what I'm taking from it.
For those who watched during this time, please, please, please fill in these gaps for us because I tried to find everything.
Right. No, everything condensed it down so much. It was like 3 paragraphs. She came for this reason, she had some love interests, and she left.
Well,
You were done.
The impression that I'm getting is she never had a story.
Right.
She was part of other stories.
Yep.
But
I would agree with that.
So she ascertained that Mr. D. Gray was somehow connected to the mysterious disappearances, and she made it her mission to find out who he was. And so basically she teamed up with Luke also, and where's my favorite? Jackie confessed to her comrades that her sister was a kleptomaniac who had a passion for stealing from local department stores. Armed with this shred of a clue, they visited several department stores and hit pay dirt. Although Laura T. had a cap on to cover her long platinum locks. Oh, and that was the other thing, is that this Laura looked a lot like Laura Spencer. Like, that was supposed to be one of the things.
Yes.
I don't want to get too much into that story, but Jackie recognized her at Gorham's department store and took off in hot pursuit. David stepped out of the shadows, grabbing Jackie, and she pulled free and ran after Laura, her sister, not Spencer.
Right.
Spotting her sister on a nearby bridge, Jackie ran after her. Arriving at the spot, she collided with 2 roller skaters. Such an 80s thing to say.
Yep.
Who sent her toppling over the side of a bridge. Clinging to the railing, Luke arrived just in time to pull her to safety. Their eyes met in relief. Then they shared an electric moment when he threw his arms around her. Jackie was safe, but both Lauras were still missing.
That would have been very cute.
It would have.
So cute to watch with the roller skates. There was another scene that they showed. Oh, because it kept leading into all the other storylines, and I was trying not to get caught up into that. But Luke was chasing after Holly, and
yes, at the amusement park.
Yes, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Didn't that remind you of the Thunderbolt?
80s. It did. I looked for a second to make sure that that's not what it was, and it was not. So
wouldn't that have been crazy if General Hospital filmed at Kennywood?
I would have been so mad that we were too young for it or not alive.
Yeah. Well, you were alive. I was alive. In utero.
I was too young to be riding roller coasters at Kennywood. I didn't even live here then.
No, you didn't.
So.
But then it goes on for 2 pages of nothing. So we're going to go back and forth. We're doing the best we can here. So it just says that on General Hospital Fandom, Jackie Templeton was an investigative reporter who had previously interviewed Laura Spencer. She arrived in Port Charles looking for her sister, Laura Templeton. But so for 2 pages, it does not say anything until then it says, throughout early 1982, the search for the missing Lauras yields few clues. Luke.
Oh, so they weren't kidnapped by the same people. Laura Spencer was kidnapped by Stavros.
Oh, yeah. So next paragraph on Fandom says, at the same time, Laura Spencer was kidnapped by Stavros Cassadine. Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I remember.
See? Okay.
Yes.
I assumed that was all part of the storyline that went together.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then cult member David Gray, D. Gray, was ultimately found responsible for taking Jackie's sister. And then we're going to ignore this next line because that will get there.
You're right.
But so to finish off, it basically says that one day Laura shows up, I guess, in the middle of the Haunted Star. She had been brainwashed or something. Like her memories of the entire thing had been removed. Erased all the memories of the heist, holograms.
Yes, it talks about that back here. He wanted some type of, Mr. Gray wanted some type of artifacts at the museum, and he was replacing them with 3D projections.
In 82, he was doing this?
A priceless exhibition was on its way to the Port Charles Museum, and using a secret, ingenious invention of Mel's, I don't know who Mel is, David planned to pilfer the valuable objects and replace them with 3-dimensional holograms. Protective of his grand scheme, he hypnotized Mel's girlfriend, Laura Templeton, so that she would remember details of the plan on cue by responding to the word star sapphire. Through the power of suggestion, David was able to secretly regulate Laura T's actions, controlling her behavior and forcing her to do his bidding.
Dun, dun, That's really cool. See, I just skimmed for the word Jackie and then read around it, so I didn't get sucked in. But that's really ahead of its time to be using holograms and stuff like that to mimic, like to show that something's there, but it's not. But anyway, so back at the Haunted Star, Luke and guests, they were there. Laura Templeton appeared at the center of the room, remembering nothing about her whereabouts for the last several months. Jackie was jubilant, but Luke was dismayed. And then he feared that his Laura was gone.
It's also confusing that they're both named Laura, because then you start to read it, and you're like, oh, no, wait, wrong Laura. That's not who I'm supposed to pay attention to.
And that's why I looked for Jackie. And then it talks a little bit more about, like we just said, that she's a sideline. So, like, she was there during this thing where Slick was bound and gagged.
Okay.
But don't know exactly. I did not read all of what it was. And then, like, for the rest of 1982, she wasn't there.
I guess it makes sense if she was still working for the other paper that she would go back and forth.
Oh, wait. That's what I had this for. A crisis was over, and Luke sadly came to accept the fact that his beloved Laura was never coming back. I had a Post-it, and I was like, why do I have a Post-it there? Scorpio admitted to Luke that he was in love with Jackie. And remember, this is when they called Robert just Scorpio, like we talked about in the game, because Mac wasn't around yet.
Right.
So Scorpio, in this context, is Robert. That he was in love with Jackie Templeton, and he insisted that she stay in Port Charles. Jackie went on to work at the Port Charles Herald. And that's what that Post-it was about, but then I guess she didn't do anything. Or they don't talk about it until...
Don't you hate when you're listening to a great podcast and suddenly you're interrupted by an ad?
I know! Thank goodness Stitcher lets us listen to our favorite podcasts like Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, My Favorite Murder, and many more ad-free for only $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year.
Go to Stitcher.com/premium to sign up today.
Use promo code PEER54 for 1 month free on us. So then the next thing that they really talk about was... So when we did Holly Sutton, we talked about how she was pregnant with Luke's baby. Luke died in the avalanche.
Right.
Robert
married her.
Consoled her.
Right.
Okay. And there was a little bit of Jackie there.
Yes.
Robert and Jackie have been together. But, like, you can't even find anything on YouTube or anywhere about Robert and Jackie.
Yep.
Couldn't even, nothing. But so they...
But to be fair, who is keeping videos from 1983?
You've been on YouTube.
But I just mean, it makes sense that there's not 1,000
I know
videos. GH really needs to release all.
I do not have that kind of money right now.
Come on, that would be so good.
Guys, share the podcast with your friends so that we can afford to buy all the General Hospital.
Every season, we would be able to do such good research.
I know.
We would not be able to have a real job.
I was just thinking that. I'm like...
way too much GH.
But I like my job.
True.
I can figure it out. Anyway, back to Jackie. So Robert had spent hours consoling Holly, a fact that infuriated his girlfriend, Jackie Templeton.
Well, gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. And as the days passed, Robert became more and more preoccupied, which got Jackie so enraged that she broke up with him.
I feel like she had it right there, especially since we know he then went on to marry Holly.
Right. Well, that's what happened next. So Jackie broke up with him, and Robert immediately proposed to Holly to keep her in the country. And then Jackie comes over. I did watch this YouTube.
Okay.
And Jackie comes over and is like, I'm so wrong. You know, I understand you're just trying to help out your best friend's girl and blah, 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 blah. I love you. And he's like, I literally just asked Holly to marry me.
Did she punch him?
She was spunky. I liked her.
It does help seeing the new Jackie by watching the old Jackie to get the personality, because some of the ways that she was playing the scenes, I was like, is that just her acting, like her spin on it, or is she pulling from how the old Jackie acted?
Right.
And I think it's totally pulling from the old Jackie.
I think she's doing a good job pulling that together.
Right.
Like, she's obviously a different person.
Yes.
And then it goes into the Susan Moore murder.
No, we can't get lost in the Susan Moore murder. We could have spent days on the Susan Moore murder. No, no, no.
So I guess real quick, this is where I started to get stuck. Because 133 videos
Wow.
is the Susan Moore murder.
Okay.
So I think that we should just do an entire episode dedicated to the Susan Moore murder sometime.
Oh my God. Okay.
Sometime.
Put that on the list.
Put it on the list.
Put it on the list.
But in short, Susan Moore was murdered. Jackie's...
Now you sound like you're summarizing the way some of these articles summarize people.
The end.
Tell me about the murders. There was a murder. Done.
So Susan Moore is Jason's mom.
Yeah.
And I feel like we all know this at this point.
I hope
But I have so many questions having just watched some of the episodes that I watched. I was like, wait. But
so many questions.
Squirrel moment.
Okay.
So weird to see Scotty and Heather actually in love.
Ew.
Yeah. Like actually in love.
Ew.
It was.
Ew.
But and she wasn't the Heather that we know now though. She seemed to be.
She wasn't crazy.
She hadn't gone on the LSD yet. So
is that LSD what really pushed her over though?
I think it was. I thought that she was.
I thought
drugged.
she was crazy before that.
I think she was like any other woman on a soap crazy, but
No, there's a descriptive term.
But not
okay.
Obnoxiously crazy.
Okay.
The way that she is now. Or legit mental health concern now.
Right.
So Susan Moore was essentially blackmailing the Quartermains. Everyone in the town had a reason to kill her. I really liked the vibe of this. It felt a lot like Clue, the movie.
Oh, fun.
It was fun for the little bit that I did watch. I made it maybe 17 episodes before.
Before you made yourself stop.
Exactly. I knew that I did not have enough time to watch the next 103 something videos. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
So part of her blackmail, though, I guess she called Jackie and said, I have some dirt on the Quartermains. Can you come over here at this time? So Jackie was coming over before she was supposed to be meeting with the Quartermains.
Okay.
Well, when Jackie got there, she was a little bit early. The door was kind of ajar. She knocked, but she was like, okay, I'll just go in. And she's like, hello. And then she hears the bathroom water running. And she's like, okay, she's taking a shower, whatever. She's like, you know what? I'll just sit here and read my stuff. You know, I'm a little bit early anyway. So then she looks over and notices water dripping from the ceiling and goes upstairs and finds Susan Moore's body.
Oh, I did not know that's who found her.
Yep. So she was the one who found the body, and then I guess she was part of, and that's the thing, I guess I was under the impression that she did more like investigative reporting as to who the killer was, but I couldn't find any of that, and I did not finish watching the videos.
Okay.
So we're not going to spoiler alert who killed her, though, so if you don't know, we're not going to tell you right now. We'll tell you in a future episode.
After we've watched all of them.
133.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. But so she was heavily involved in that, but then it's kind of like what we were talking about. She was part of that story, but it had nothing really to do.
She really just did the reporting side of it. She didn't have anything extra.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about next?
When does she have another love interest?
I don't think she has another love interest, but she, oh, that's right. That Heinrich dude. Wait, was that in here?
Heinrich? Why are we reusing the name
don't even get me started.
Of all the names to reuse the second time.
I know. Oh, but then the last article that she really seems to have worked on, at least that I could find in the book, I did not, it sounds like you actually read the book. I just skimmed for.
I started out, I didn't finish all of it. I was interested in why she came and like how she got there, so I read that first part. And then it did seem like she just kind of was involved in different reporting aspects and didn't really have a storyline, so I didn't go any further than that.
So when Luke was running for mayor, she overheard Scotty talking about, Scotty was trying to discredit Luke, and he talked about the fact that Bobby had previously been, it says in here, a hooker, because at the time,
what she called the other day, a professional girlfriend.
Yeah, the girlfriend experience. And so Jackie overheard that and decided to run it in the paper.
That's kind of messed up that she ran the story about Bobby, though. That had
I know.
nothing to do with Luke. I mean, I know that's his sister, but still.
Jackie Templeton had overheard Scotty and Lee's conversation and had arranged to have Bobby's sordid story published. The bad publicity and Brock's rejection left Bobby hurt and humiliated, but they eventually reconciled, all was forgiven, and they passionately made love.
So they're lovers.
They're lovers.
Well, now I don't like her.
Well,
Now I don't like her. She has to do something to redeem herself. That was crappy.
just a bit.
That's not her story to publish, and it had nothing to do with Luke. What the heck?
So then I also saw somewhere. So then on General Hospital Fandom, it says that she left town and came back in 1983 on the arm of an enemy spy named Heinrich Brennick.
That's a weird name to reuse.
We need to send the writers of General Hospital a baby book. Because there are literally thousands of names.
There are.
And I don't know if, I don't see where it was written in this book. Maybe they didn't because it was, I don't see it. But yes, that is a really weird name.
To reuse?
Yeah.
Like, really weird. She left town in 1983 on the arm of an enemy spy named Heinrich Brennick. When Heinrich is arrested and deported, Jackie was angry with Robert, who was against the relationship from the beginning. Gee, I wonder why. Because he knew who Heinrich really was.
Right.
Which makes it sound like it's another one of those who are they connected to kind of storylines. So not only did we use the same name, but it sounds like kind of the same storyline.
Right.
She remained vindictive towards Robert and Holly in several of her investigations before leaving Port Charles in early 1984.
So I guess that was kind of it. But do you remember? Hold on. Okay. So remember how I said that I think that Laura would have been in the cult?
Yes.
Okay. On February 8th, 2019, Shiloh was giving Sam McCall a tour of the Donna Day house. She was looking at the framed photos and asked if one of them was Jackie Templeton. And he said that they met doing charity work in Central America.
Wow.
So, having now watched Laura Templeton, I don't think Harmony is,
Okay.
but I think that there could be a connection there somewhere.
Yeah.
Because how would he know? Although I guess she's a world-renowned journalist.
Right.
So I guess that would be the same thing as if you did a community project with Diane Sawyer.
Huh. I like that they connected it together, though. I like when they do that.
And then Jackie returned to town in October 2020 after Lulu Spencer called her to help investigate Cyrus Renault for The Invader. Lulu shares that she's a big fan of Jackie's work, and they briefly reminisce about Jackie's past. Lulu's father, Luke. Later, Jackie reunites with Robert Scorpio at the Metro Court and punches him in his side. I like her.
Anna Devane intervenes, and it's soon revealed that Jackie is the wife of Gregory Chase, the mother of Detective Chase, and the stepmother and former lover of Hamilton Finn. Jackie makes it clear that she will be in town indefinitely until she gets her story. Chase is thrilled by the news, Finn not so much.
So you asked about her romances. Hey, look, it says lover, 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 lover. Luke Spencer,
Okay.
Robert Scorpio,
Okay.
Heinrich. How did you pronounce it? Because I liked how you pronounced it better.
Brennick.
Okay. Grant Putnam and Gregory Chase. They're married. It should not just say lovers.
True.
So I feel so bad. Like, I feel like we should have had more.
It doesn't seem like there is more, though. We looked for multiple different episodes or different articles. It
And
wasn't
sources.
Yeah,
yes.
it wasn't like we just typed in her name once and said, oh, we can't find anything.
Right.
We both looked and looked. Every article says the exact same thing. She came to town. She did some reporting. She hooked up with this guy. She was mad at this guy, and then she left.
Right.
That's it.
Soaps and Death puts it perfectly. By 1984, there was nothing left for Jackie in Port Charles, and she chose to leave town to seek her fortune elsewhere. And in that case, we're saying fortune.
Okay. However you want.
So I did like this one article that I came across from Soap Hub that is 5 fast facts about Jackie Templeton on General Hospital.
Say that 5 times fast.
Who is Jackie Templeton? Last seen in 1983, even though we just read 1984. Here are some fun facts you may or may not know about Jackie Templeton.
Casting call. According to an ABC primetime special in 1998 honoring GH's 35th anniversary, which does not feel like it should have been that long ago.
No.
The soap was looking for either Margot Kidder, Superman. I don't know who that is.
It's Lois Lane.
Okay. Or Karen Allen, Raiders of the Lost Ark, typed to play Jackie Moore. Quit looking at me like that. I'm sorry. To play Jackie, period. Moore beat out 1,000 other actresses for the part. She was paid $750 per episode.
That is crazy. When Jackie met Laura, Jackie and Laura, Jeannie Francis, not her sister, actually did meet prior to Francis's exit from the ABC serial. And this is actually when Jeannie Francis left. And this is when we thought she died.
Okay.
In January of 1982, the day before my husband was born, Jackie interviewed Laura for the magazine she was writing for at the time, as Laura was becoming a famous model and the Miss Star Eyes spokeswoman. What was Miss Star Eyes?
I have no idea.
Laura and Jackie Templeton met on board the Haunted Star, the Cassadine ship formerly known as the Titan, where Luke and Laura lived after they got married. Laura's pals, including Tiffany, kept interrupting the interview, so Laura suggested to Jackie that they leave the ship and go get some coffee at Kelly's Diner.
I didn't know that Laura was good friends with Tiffany back then either.
Neither did I.
I love Tiffany. She needs to come back. Luke, we have to find my sister. Jackie has a younger sister, Laura. Around the same time that Laura Spencer went missing, Jackie's sister also did a vanishing act. This gave Luke and Jackie something in common: find Laura. While Laura Templeton soon showed up, it would be almost 2 years before Laura Spencer made her way home. By this point, Jackie was gone from the canvas.
Scorpio rising. Initially, viewers were not interested in seeing a Laura-less Luke be paired with anyone, even the dynamic and attractive Jackie. The writer shifted Jackie into a romance with Robert. Alas, that ended after Robert wed a pregnant Holly after Luke, the dad, was presumed dead in an avalanche. Unable to process that Robert was being gallant, Jackie called him a lousy two-timing rat. I'll never understand, Jackie added. Congratulations on 2 things. 1, on your marriage, such as it is, and 2, for making me realize how lucky I am to have you out of my heart and out of my life. That was tough.
I like that. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
That's a good line. Jackie versus Holly. After Robert wed Holly, Jackie Templeton went in for the figurative kill with Holly. Using her reporter's recorder like a weapon on occasion, Jackie sat down at Holly's table once uninvited and grilled Holly with biased questions related to Robert's job that Holly refused to answer. Jackie shut the recorder off and posed one final question. Off the record, Holly, Jackie asked, what would you have named the baby, Robert or Luke?
So I watched that clip. It was so good.
I watched that one too.
Because somebody commented, we asked on Instagram what your favorite Jackie Templeton memory was. First of all, I love this name because I just love everything mentioned in it. Prince Tupac fan forever, 1970. Jackie doing a hit story on Holly Sutton. So I was trying to find that hit story.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what exactly that was, or I don't know. But so that's how I stumbled across her
going off
on her. So we need to know more about this story.
Yeah.
But I liked it. Overall, I liked doing this research. I mean, it was nice to be able to use our books.
Yes, nice to be able to use the books. And I'm interested in the older stories, especially whenever they connect them back to now. Mm-hmm. It's just hard. Again, I totally understand why people don't have their tapes from the early 80s laying around, but it's hard to get into the storyline when you can't actually see it.
Right. And I guess I understand why there's not as much for her as there is for other people, because it sounds like everything that we've read, she wasn't as big of a deal as we thought she was.
Right.
And we're not trying to be mean with that. It doesn't feel like they're trying to rewrite history either.
No.
So that's good.
Yeah. And now she has a main storyline because we're going to play Who's the Daddy for a while. Shannon loves that idea so much.
It's bad. It's a bad line. This can be one of the ones that we abandon. That would be okay.
That would be okay. I don't think you're going to get your wish. It's not going to happen.
Neither do I.
But we'll see.
I was going to say, let's find out on Monday as we recap this week's episodes, if it's even talked about this week, because I haven't really watched this week yet. Don't tell me if
I know I only watched Monday, and
So
Monday
did
has
I.
nothing to do with anything.
Exactly.
So there
Okay.
we go. We're good.
Cool.
So have a good weekend.
And we'll meet with the peer.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to peer54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review.
And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Peer54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at peer54podcast@gmail.com.
Let's see.